Hello and good evening, good night. I wanted to take another moment to make a follow-up video on the one I made earlier and to address Miss Mary Theresa-Etienne, Miss Michelle John-Theobalds, to the justices of the appellate court, to the members of the judiciary, and to the practitioners of law, the members of the class of attorneys, lawyers, and solicitors in the OECS and in particular on the Caribbean island nation state of Dominica. Once again, today was a great day. I'm still amongst the living, and I am strong, strong like a bull, and ready to wage the battles because we have one motto and one motto only. And that motto is resistance. It is to fight la lucha, and it is victory, which must lead us to victory. As some of you know, because I know you know who I am, and there's gossip and there's small talk and there's Tory. And it has been 13 years since I have had this case in your court. And when last August in in the summer, when Justice Bernie Stevenson was on her way out, and I have to thank her for that because she started this mess, she created this mess, and on her way out, she did one honorable thing she did. She put that case back on the docket and she made it current. And when she saw me in court that day, my God, if looks could kill, I would have been dead. And if you go and you look at that video and you see how she spoke to me and how the attitude she had towards me, I knew that I had done a very fantastic job. You see, once you can get other people angry, once you can get other people fired up, they don't have to like you. They don't have to like you because this is not a likability competition. This is, you see, sometimes amongst your own people, you have to fight. That's why there are civil wars. Because when you have a disagreement within the tribe and other people cannot fall in line with what needs to happen, you have to go to war against them. So I went to war against the judiciary in order to get my rights and to preserve my rights against a fake case, an attempt at usurpation of 13.43 acres of land from my estate. At this moment, I'm drinking coffee because after I went through all that struggle to make that video for you, I was so overwhelmed by it. I couldn't do any work all day. I didn't do any work today. All I did was study. Was watch various YouTube videos on various issues, from the Persians to the Houthis to the Shah of Iran, and recalling where I was in 1979 and how that phenomena of the Iranian Revolution changed the entire geopolitics of the world and where it is today and where we are today in the 21st century. So I've been a witness to history. I've been sitting there watching that history, the same way that I have been a witness to the history of Dominica, the witness to its evolution. I have a lot of information, though I may have left there as a little child. I still know what that society is, what its people are, and how things are done in that part of the world. So, as with any leader, you always consult with the people around, even though you might want to just make decisions on your own. And you might think it's more proficient to just make a decision. You always want to run it by somebody, a close friend, a close associate, a confidant, someone here, someone close, and someone far. I don't like to call our supporters followers because no one is following anyone. Everybody is independent to do whatever they want to do. But those who want to listen and those who can understand and can appreciate can rally around the cause of truth. I went to somebody. I said, this is what I have done for 13 years, and this is how Bernie came to hate me. This is how the entire OECS came to know me. When I called St. Lucia, they say, oh, we know who you are. We've seen your emails. And that's what Bernie said to me. Oh, we saw your emails. Oh, we read your emails. And I'm thinking, oh, that's great. You should read my emails. If I send you an email, you should read it. That's why I am writing this email. I'm not writing it for you to delete it. I'm not writing it for you to ignore it. And if you are ignoring and deleting my emails, you are digging a grave for yourself. So that's why I said, well, if you're not going to respond to my email in a timely manner, then I will publish a video for you. You will see it. Your friends will see it. They will tell you about it the same way when I emailed you and I said, hey, had I written to you and told you we had bottle fete tonight, had I told you it was all white party, had I told you it was Juve, had I told you it was a cabal or it was a, yes, if it was that, if it was an orgy, a sexual orgy, you would not have ignored my email if the title said orgy tonight, bottle fete tonight, rise and wine. But I sent very serious matters before you. You all returned 4 letters, physical letters. I have them. 2 of them to Etienne on serious matters, 1 to Vincia, and 1 to Levi Peter. And luckily, the United States Post Office works very well. They returned the voodoo letters. And I have a copy of those letters, and I'm going to put them in this video so you can see them. This is the extent to how much you fear me. And you must continue to fear me, because what happened is that when I spoke to this individual, I said, what do you think? This is the operations I've had to undertake. And finally, these people responded. So I said, do you think I should back off now, just let them be and just go according to the way things are? And then Mr. Peters betrayed me on the 10th of November 2022 and made me lose my hearing, because I wanted these things gone in 2022, the same way that we want them settled in 2023. And we published a video about Mr. Peters. And then coming up in January, I don't know, I'm sure it probably wasn't Mr. Peters, but somebody sent me another email trying to deceive me, to make me miss the trial, the hearing on the 13th. But I was very prepared. You see, I had prepared all of my applications and filed them with the court. And I had served the adversarial attorney, who is Kenan Bruni. And Bruni came before the court and pretty much lied. He said he didn't receive service, but then he picks up a copy and shows it to the court and to my lady. And then he says that it's not stamp filed. Well, I've never heard of a requirement of serving another party where it has to be stamp filed. All they have to know is that you have served them and you have attest and affirm that an exact copy of what you're providing to them is what is filed in the court. And at the time that you attest that, hey, I have served a true and correct copy on the other party, at that time you haven't filed it yet, you have only wrote it. So a real professional is not going to do something like that. It's very childish. It's very infantile, because you know I paid a process server and he brought the documents to you and you got it and it's in your hand, and you're saying in the court that you're so good, you're such a major, that you don't need to write a response to what Landa has written. You can stand up. You can stand up and respond to my 80-page document. Actually, it's more than 80 pages because it's multiple documents. It's multiple documents. It's got an affidavit, it's got an application, and you want to tell me that you can just stand up and you can respond to it because you're such a major. You see, Landa is not a major. Landa is just an ordinary lay person. And you all have a hatred, a jealousy, an envy. Besides the fact that you fear me, you want to do everything in your power to undermine me and to sabotage me, because in your eyes, because I didn't go and get a law degree like you, because I didn't graduate with honors, because I cannot put this on my business card, you're saying who the hell I am. Who is Mr.? Boy, who is Mr. Boy? Boy, get Mr. out of there. Boy, throw Mr. paperwork in the trash. And Joanne Commodore did do that. She made my applications into the case disappear. And when the time came for the plaintiff to show up, the plaintiff didn't show up 4 times because I married her. When married, il était marié moi pour 8 années, et puis là, temps venu pour nous aller devant l'office. Moi, mettez bagaille là assis, et puis si, j'ai quand la loi même, madame moi ici, est-ce que vous connaissez qui place Gloria est? Do you know where Gloria is? I said, my lady, I'm not responsible for Gloria. Gloria is the one who sued me. Gloria's case is Gloria's case. I don't even know who Gloria is. As I said in my application, if I saw her in a lineup, I couldn't tell you who she is. So Gloria didn't show up 4 times. Gloria's attorney died, Anthony Commodore. Her chief witness died before Anthony, and it is in that order that they died. And I wrote to the court, and I wrote to you all, and I said, look, people are dying. One of my key witnesses died, a very close and humble servant of ours who have been with us for maybe 60 years. And he died just suddenly. And he died before his wife, who had Alzheimer's disease. And then the family was left to care for the mother. And when people would meet him, they probably say, how is your wife? They never ask, how are you? They say, oh, I can see you, you're doing well. You don't know how I'm doing. You don't know how I'm doing inside. So I came back this evening to tell you this. People go back to their old ways very easy. You go back to coming to work late, taking an extra long lunch break, coming back after lunch late, being edgy because you had too much starch, your blood sugar is high, your high blood pressure is high or low, whichever it may be, and you don't perform the level of work and the level of productivity that the government is paying you to do. And this is why things are not getting done. In my case, I decided, you see, if I had one of those flow attorneys, they would be concerned about appearances. They would be concerned about what they have to say and what they have to do. I do not have this concern because I am a Cowan from Massac, a young man from Massac who had no expectations of me. I'm not supposed to be anybody. I'm not supposed to go to any university, have no honors. I'm not supposed to be able to read and write. So the fact that I could even read, even write, or even handle an appeal or do those things, it kind of it cuts into you and into your arrogance and your prejudice. And that's why you keep trying to undermine me. And I'm telling you for the last time, let's get me out of your business. Let's get me out of this matter that's been going for 30. You see, 13 is a critical number now. 13 in the work that we do is very critical. And when we come on 13 years, you have to know what happened in the past 13 years. A lot of things are going to happen this year. A lot of things are going to happen. So the man said to me, Peter, why do you want to take the pressure off? So I took down the video of Leroy. The next week, I'm getting a fake email trying to trick me about the hearing on the 13th. I even went as far as being contrite. And he had offered me to be a friend before. But with that came the betrayal. And then that came the response. And there was a lot of criticism from some people. Some people say, why did you do that? Or how do you feel? Or is it justified? And I say, yes, this is war. And in war, everything is fear. Hell is fear in love and war. You don't go to Putin and say, Putin, why did you hit the Ukrainians with a Icelandic missile or with a Shahad 136 drone? Or why are you getting Shahad missiles? Or why are you getting whatever the missiles are from Iran and you're slamming the Ukraine with it while Ukraine itself is getting arms from NATO and the United States and they're trying to go up against Mother Russia? You don't go there and ask them, why are you fighting? Why are you using bombs and why are you killing people? In your little world, you watch the Western media, they tell you some negative things about the great mother Russia, and you buy into it like drinking a stick of dynamite without knowing what the hell is going on. When they went to invade Iraq, as soon as they told you Saddam was the worst man in the world, you believed it. When they went to destroy Gaddafi, you forgot the times Gaddafi gave you scholarships, Gaddafi gave you money. You joined with Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton killed Gaddafi, and you yourself, you can't vote in the US elections, but you wanted to cast a vote for Hillary Clinton. And that's why our great leader, Donald Trump, came to power, and Trump will come again. And this time when Trump comes, he's going to put me in charge of Operation Roundup. And in under Operation Roundup, we're going to round up all those people who are here illegally and have been here for years and had a chance to change their status and didn't do so. And I will be in charge because they know I know how to snuff out an illegal Caribbean immigrant that has been here for too long. Anyway, the man told me, the minute you take the pressure off, they're going to go back to doing the same things they were doing, and they're going to treat you the same way they were treating you. So you'll be a fool to stop. So what did I do? What did I do? I stopped. I stopped recording. I stopped publishing. I even stopped emailing. I only emailed you on very important matters. I didn't criticize you. What you don't know and what you all need to go see is my publication on the conditions of work in the old courthouse. When I made my series on the judiciary in the OECS, and Vince tried to attack me for taking pictures in the courthouse, and they all tried to attack me, but I took it anyway. I took it anyway. And I published a video about it. And I sent it to Levi. And I sent it to Blackmore. And I sent it to Skerritt. And I said, look at that. Charles Sabra is living in a palace. And look at the condition of the judiciary. You see, there are three branches of government. There's the executive branch, which is Charles Sabra and Roosevelt Skerritt. There's the legislative branch, which is the parliament, which is made up of all these characters from the 21 constituencies, as well as the senators that are appointed by each party. And then there's the judiciary. And the judiciary is supposed to be independent of these other branches of government. But as we know on Dominica, that judge in particular of whom I speak had become politicized. She was the government's judge. And anytime they needed an emergency action, she would hear it. At the same time, matters having to do with the civilians, the citizens, continue to languish before the court. No doubt there are other people who have matters in the court, and it's been 20 years going, and it's still, and they have paid an attorney. That's the interesting thing about it. Most of these individuals have paid an attorney. The attorney has taken that money. He has bought sex. He has bought alcohol. He has bought cocaine, because a lot of you are on cocaine now. You don't fool me. I can look into your face. I can hear it when you blow your nose. I can hear it when you breathe that you're snorting cocaine. So you don't fool me. And cocaine is not for the poor. It's for the up and coming, the chic class, the bourgeoisie, the young and upcoming bourgeoisie, or so you think. So what I have to say to you, until our matters are settled, until they are settled to my satisfaction, and you send me on my merry way, until I get the titles to my land and you free me up, I am going to keep the pressure on the movement of Macandal. God's electronic army, God's electronic press is going to double down the pressure on you all. Because for 1 minute, I thought when Miss Etienne took over as acting registrar, and that's why I say to you, Miss Etienne, you may be acting for a long time, because how you treat me is going to determine whether or not you go from acting to full-time, because you don't know who I know. Don't mind how crazy you think I am. Don't mind what you think I am. I tell you, a lot of people that you don't know right here in the United States of America. Most people and everybody have a time when they have to consult with a seer, when they have to come and ask for advice, when they have to need spiritual guidance. And there's a lot of people that call and say, Voodoo Master, I have so and this and that going on. What should I do and how should I do it? So you don't know who calls me. You don't know who communicates with me. You don't know. You see, when Mr. Mark was alive, fireman on Princess Lid and we were kids, Mr. Astafan used to come, Mr. Nassif used to come. All the prominent people on the island used to come and see fireman. And they used to come when it's dark and park their car on Princess Lane to go and get a reading. I am told there is a lady in Goodwill who does readings as well. One day I will come to Dominica and I'll do readings for you all as well. But I want to give you one last message. If for any reason this year we have to escalate, we're going to escalate. And what does escalation means? Escalation means that we're going to double down on the videos. We're going to double down on the messages because you see, it's a public message. You don't have to put it in the newspaper anymore. You can put it on YouTube. You put it on Facebook. You can put it on Twitter. The whole world will see it. And a colleague of yours might call you from London. They might call from Jamaica. They might call from Trinidad and say, Mrs. Etienne, look, I saw this man and he looked so spooky and he was talking about you. And he said if you didn't do your job or you were going to lose your job and you wouldn't be able to find any work on Dominica anymore comparable to what you're doing now. And he seemed very serious, and whatever he was saying, there was truth to it. Well, we're going to double down and we're going to combine our messages. And like I told you before, we're going to start sending messages to you by ravens, by ravens. Now, the day and the days that those ravens land, they will land in Dominica and they will land in St. Lucia. And when you see that raven land, you know how you all don't like black people? You know you all are so prejudiced. You love light-skinned people. You love white people. So much so St. Lucia has a white prime minister. Jamaica barely have had one or two black prime ministers in their history. And today they have a light-skinned fella who's one shade away from being white. This bird is a very, very black bird, and it's ominous. When you see a raven, you know something is going to happen. And that day, when that raven lands, first of all, I got you to be in that building where you are, in the post office, for my work, and you're still trying to undermine me. I have the letters that you returned, the voodoo letters. I don't know what scared you about them. I keep them. These are, they're keepsakes. Let's put it that way. So I have those letters to show the world and to demonstrate to them that you fear me. You won't even open a physical letter that comes from the high priest. So what's going to happen? Yes, the ravens, you find them a lot where there's war and a lot of dead bodies because they come and they pick and they eat the bodies. In the time of, way back from the time of the Romans, time of Genghis Khan, the time of the Greeks and of the Egyptians, these birds, just like message by pigeon, you can send message by pigeon, you can send message by ravens, and the raven is a more serious way to send a message. And that day when that raven show up, it will be carried by every newspaper and every news outlet on the island of St. Lucia and on the island of Dominica. And in particular, Emo News. Emo News will come down to the courthouse and they'll say, hello, this is Emo News. I want to report to you, there have been a black bird that landed today in the High Court. And they say it's a bird that the fella from Texas sent to give a message to Ma Etienne because they say they're trying to corner him and they're screwing around with his case on the island. And Mr. say for 13 years, boy, Mr. going up against those people, Walsh corner him. They say the other judge that was there before him is the one that marry him like that. And they want them to demarry him this year. Boy, Mr. Not easy now, boy, you should see that bird. This is Emo News reporting today from the High Court of Dominica. Anyway, I have nothing but respect and honor for the institutions of government, except when they fail to act and to perform in a manner that is responsive to the people with whom they serve, their constituents, the citizens. I have respect and honor for the judiciary, and there's no need for me to be disrespectful of any officers of the court or any members of the attorney class. But when you show yourself unworthy and not keeping and carrying yourself in a manner that is above reproach, when some of you attorneys are showing up in rice and wine, breakfast fat and bottle fat, you have no clothes on, your hair color is red, pink, and purple, how do you expect lay people like us to look up to you and to respect you? You have disrespected yourself and you have brought down the honor of the institution that you represent. Therefore, it is I who needs you to reciprocate. You need to give me the same treatment and the professional courtesy like any other attorney, because that's what I am so long as I'm representing myself before you. And when you fail to do that, and you show your prejudices and you show your biases, you are devaluing the institution that you claim to represent. And so going forward, I had promised you that you would get a video every week, and I have not kept that promise. But I wrote to you on 3 occasions. I wrote to you about the 2 missing cases. I wrote to you about what should come out of the hearing on the 13th. Today is the 2nd week after those hearings. Today is going on 2 weeks since I wrote to you. Maybe next time I will change the subject, and instead of put missing cases, I'll say bottle fed tonight. I'll say rise and wine tonight. I'll say Juve. I'll say whatever. Party all night long. Party can't over. Because that's all our people like. And maybe it'll look like a parody email to you, but be assured that the letters that I sent you that you returned, they were serious letters having to do with matters before the court. The emails I'm sending you, I'm not asking you for a date. I'm not asking you to be your lover. I'm asking you about the business that we have. The only reason why we're interacting is because of that business. I don't want you. I'm not interested in you. I live in the United States of America. If it's woman I want, America has woman. The United States of America have the most beautiful women in the world. Most beautiful, most successful. And when they get old, they look good. You know, women in America, they don't get to 50 and look terrible. They look well. They know how to do their hair, their makeup, their eyes, their nails. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, don't get mad at me now for telling you the truth. I'm not coming here to talk to you because I'm interested in you. You know, I may have flirted with you a little bit, Vince, but I'm not interested in you. That was just a joke. I'm not serious. All my life, women always say to me, Peter, are you serious? No, I'm not serious. If I really tell you what I think about you, you're not going to be happy. And that's why when you see my videos, you get scared. Because sometimes I do tell you what I think about you. But I'm not going to insult nobody. All I can tell is that my previous wife, who died 10 years ago, was killed, actually, not died. She always said to me, Peter, everybody ain't going to be handsome like you. But let me tell you this, if we live long enough and we grow old, we all at some point may get fat, old, and ugly. Well, some of us don't have to live old to get fat and ugly. And some of us, we could live old and, you know, we'll get ugly, you know. I mean, I expect at some point, you know, I'm going to get ugly too. And you could have an accident. Anything can happen. A fire could break out, you know, just on today. While I'm sitting here in my bed, you know, nothing to do but to think and contemplate and strategize, you know, wondering about my money. Where is it? What happened to it? How am I going to make it through this year? At the end of this month, you know, when I started coming from that little village in Massac, you know, I came here with nothing, absolutely nothing. I got this great old house, big house that I got, but I got 2 of them. And this time of the year, you have to worry about paying what you call your property taxes. And by the end of January, in order to avoid all these fees, and then and I was listening to this man talk about a driver's license, and it has an expiration date, and he said, this is not real. You're not part of the system. It's part of a corporate entity because we don't have an expiration. The only time we expire is when we die. So why does our identification say it has an expiration date? And then when you go somewhere, somebody want to get smart if you tell you it's expired. Well, I'm not expired. It's still the same person on there. Okay? So this individual must be a sovereign citizen. You can go find out what that means. So sovereign citizens, like the Native Americans, have some different protocols compared to our other ordinary citizens. So if we all live long enough, we'll get fat, grow old, and not get ugly. And not only that, the worst part is that we'll get ill. We'll get ill. And no matter how arrogant we are, no matter how strong we feel we are. Let me give you one last story before I go. Besides the people who are dying, Lionel Laville did the survey for me. And Lionel Laville was not confidential. He took the plans that he made for me and he gave it to Fenty Larrock. And he gave it to Fenty Larrock before he gave it to me. And Fenty did not participate in the survey. Fenty claimed he have land. And in Dominica, nobody go and survey land that you have interest in and you're not present. Fenty didn't help pay. To this day, he haven't helped pay, but he claimed to have land there. And Lionel gave him my plans. Now, where's Lionel today? Lionel is at Mont Daniel. And guess what it is? Lionel cannot walk and he cannot see. Lionel Laville cannot walk and he cannot see. And he took money from me. He took blood money from me. You understand? And with that blood money, he went to Monrachet and he bought a big bag of dashing because he said he loved dashing so much. And I tried to tell him. And I told his wife, I said, look, Lionel shouldn't be eating that much dashing. He has high blood sugar. He has diabetes. And the worst thing you can do is not take care of your diabetes because you'll deteriorate very quickly. Your sight will deteriorate. Your dental will deteriorate. Your teeth will start falling out. You'll get gingivitis. You'll get gum disease. You'll have constant, permanent bad breath. And then you lose your circulation, and then you can become an amputee. But Lionel, he betrayed me. He betrayed me and he betrayed us. And sometimes there's worse things than dying. There's worse things than dying. And one of the worst things from dying is to be disabled and unable to take care of yourself. So Lionel, who is another person within the circle of business that we've had to do, and excuse me, we have talked about those who died along the way, but we're telling about those who are still living and have they're not living well, they're not healthy. And some of that is traced to the way they live. You see, they were not honest. They were not honest. And when you're not honest, things will happen to you. So I'm saying to you, it's time for you to be honest with us and honest with me. And if I write to you and I put an issue, you need to respond. Even if it's one sentence like Mr. Walsh, say something. Say something. Do not ignore me. Because when I feel I'm being ignored, I'm going to say something. I'm not like you. I'm not going to take. One lady told me in Dominica, you have to take your abuse and don't speak. I'm going to speak out. So any of you in the system who knows Lionel Laville, go check on him. He's up there at Mont Daniel. And you'll see that he cannot walk and he cannot see. And that's because he took $10,000 and spent it on Dashin. Dashin. Anyway, I'm tired. I have to go and respond. I have another matter. I have quite a few matters here, and particularly when you have assets, you're always going to be involved in litigation of some kind. If you own stocks, if you own crypto, somebody's gonna go bankrupt, somebody's gonna defraud you, and you have to go to court. And in this time and age, it's like I think of the poor people, and they cannot afford legal counsel. Before you walk in the lawyers, they don't even know their bottom from their ass. They want to charge you $300-400 for a consultation. You're not Johnny Cochran. If you were Johnny Cochran, I can understand. But you're not Johnny Cochran. And by the time you tell them his land matters, they want 10,000. So most poor people in Dominica, they have land, they need to register, they need title, they cannot do it, they cannot go to the bank, they cannot have upward mobility because these lawyers don't know how to have compassion and how to have empathy for poor people. Each one of them thought they would go to law school and come back and become rich. But they don't realize it don't work that way. You have to have political connections. You have to be like Alex Lawrence. You have to be like Commodore Isidore. And you have to know the prime minister to get these cozy deals to sell passports so you can get rich quick. Otherwise, you're done. And then those of you who got rich quick, that's for separate cover. We'll talk about that later because we need to do a series on that. Where did the CBI money go now that the treasury is empty? Now that the prime minister cannot afford to buy tampons for the young women in the United States studying, or for the young women in Dominica every month anymore, where did that money go? As always, I bless you, the name of Francois Macandal, the everlasting remembrance of him who is the founder of our movement. And again, I want to remind you that we're not here to be loved, we're not here to be liked, but certainly you must fear us the way you pretend to fear God and to fear Jesus. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon you. And may the peace of Christ Jesus, the Prince of Peace, Christ the Redeemer, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, have mercy upon you for all the wrong things you're doing on earth, all the sins you're committing on earth, and be thankful that you're still amongst the living. I bless you.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.